From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
We're live. It is Sunday, the 9th day of January, 2011. We're going to be here for the next 2 hours. Jim Marrs, historian, researcher, professor, best-selling author, will be joining us live because he's a real expert when it comes to confirmed evidence of Manchurian candidate type activity with Sirhan, Mark David Chapman, John Hinckley Jr., and many others. In fact, I read books he wrote 15 years ago or more breaking down Sirhan and Robert Kennedy and that whole situation. And years later, in 2005, 2008, and mainstream news like the London Independent, London Guardian, even Reuters here in the United States, reporting on the fact that they'd done the acoustic checks and the bullet checks, and that Sirhan wasn't the guy that shot Robert F. Kennedy. That's what the police and others said at the time. And that he was just there firing wildly, and then while his hand was pinned down, shots were still being fired. And we even now know the CIA agent who was there firing the shots from behind Sirhan. And obviously the reason we're going to be covering this coming up in 45 minutes is because of the unfolding situation that happened yesterday morning at a grocery store there in Arizona, in Tucson. Jared Lee Loughner. They've always got three names, don't they? Poets and assassins. Jared Lee Loughner. And there's a dead federal judge. He shot the Congresswoman, Gabrielle Giffords, into the brain, but she reportedly is alive and responsive. The brain's amazing. They've had cases in mining explosions where a crowbar is all the way through someone's head and it's removed and they're fine. Or they've had cases where somebody gets punched in the temple, lightly, and they fall over dead. So we hope for her the best. And I've seen some people out there on the web saying, oh, too bad that he didn't get all of Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, the fundamental problem in this country and worldwide is us individually. Sure, the Supreme Court legalized abortion back in 1973, and we've had 51 million dead babies since then. But what's wrong with us as a country that we haven't educated people that this is barbaric and wrong? Congress has gotten out of control because we've let them get out of control. And if more of this happens, the system is going to use this to push a crackdown on the population, and that's going to explode even bigger and cause more dead people on both sides. And statistically leans towards the globalist favor if we get violent. I don't want violence. I want to have a peaceful restoration of our republic. And this guy hooked in with a white supremacist, very creepy, Fed-run gaggle of individuals. And that adds towards the weight on one side that this was a federal mind control operation, which are very real. I mean, those are admitted in 1977 congressional hearings to be one of the biggest covert, not just CIA, but defense intelligence, overall Pentagon, private university operations ever. I mean, they are obsessed with mind control, erasing memories, creating kind of wind-up toy people who have their memory erased but have a total compulsion. And that's what Jared Lee Loughner on his MySpace and Facebook and all these places said. I can't rest. I've got to do this. I've got a compulsion. Sorry. Now, that also mirrors what a regular, out-of-their-mind, violent, schizophrenic, paranoid schizophrenic would do, because they artificially create an artificial paranoid schizophrenia, and then they point it and direct the compulsion that everything's going to be all right, and they're going to be in a heaven, Mount Olympus, Valhalla, Nirvana, great consciousness-expanding moment when they kill their subject. But it's hard to tell if it was a mind control operation or not because both mirror each other. But it's got the telltale cookie-cutter signs there. We'll be breaking it all down when we come back on the other side of this quick break. Jim Marrs coming up in about 40 minutes. I'm Alex Jones. The Drudge Report is linked to one of our key articles. We'll cover that when we come back. Hi folks, this is Alex Jones, and I want to tell you about the Silver Lungs generator. Now you can produce pure and endless colloidal silver and deliver the solution directly into the bloodstream by breathing the solution through the lungs. The respiratory system is the first line of defense for airborne pathogens and viruses. The Silver Lungs generator infuses the respiratory system with your self-produced nano-silver solutions and also delivers the silver nanoparticles instantly into the bloodstream. With continued legislation threatening the sale of nano-silver products, you can now produce pure and endless colloidal silver with the Silver Lungs generator. Very easy to follow step-by-step instructions are provided, making production fast and simple. Go to www.silverlungs.com today and learn more about the breakthrough technology of the Silver Lungs generator. That's www.silverlungs.com.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
We are live, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be here for the next 2 hours. It is the 9th day of January 2011 on this Sunday edition. We have former Fort Worth Star-Telegram crime reporter, professor, best-selling author, researcher. He wrote the book that was, of course, then turned into Oliver Stone's film JFK. Jim Marrs joining us in about T-minus 40 minutes. He will be joining us from the DFW area. He is an expert on political assassination, both where they just have patsies and have somebody they set up and blame for the shooting, a James Earl Ray, a Lee Harvey Oswald, or a Tim McVeigh type operation where they blame the operation on one of their throwaway puppets. But he's also an expert on confirmed instances and the congressional reports of 1977 on MK-Ultra, MK Naomi. Mind control. Now, I don't know if this Jared Lee Loeffner, who from his own Facebook photos looks like a complete demon, I don't know if this guy's under mind control or not, but we know that Sirhan was, that's even the London Independent and London Guardian, here's the headlines right here, was Robert Kennedy killed by a real Manchurian candidate-style assassin? That's what the L.A. Police Department thinks. London Guardian, new evidence challenges official picture of Kennedy shooting. Same thing. So that's all come out on that front. Sirhan, Mark David Chapman, John Hinckley Jr. We're going to be talking about that coming up with Jim Marrs in about 40 minutes, as I said. By the way, the reason a lot of that mind control questions are there is, and we can punch this up on screen, we're not just a radio show, we're also streaming video of everything we're talking about at prisonplanet.tv if you want to go over and actually watch it. Here's a screenshot from his YouTube channel. It hasn't been taken down yet. His MySpace was, but we were able to copy that. And the whole thing is mind control. He says, if I'm the mind controller, then I control the belief and the religion. And I've studied the creepy declassified evidence of MK-Ultra, MK Naomi, the admitted government mind control operation, and the people who are under mind control always believe they are the mind controller, and they always believe they're working for the government on a secret mission. Well, it turns out he told people months ago he was on a secret mission for the government. We have sworn affidavits from Terry Nichols and others, that McVeigh told the guards and others at every prison he was at that he'd been on a secret mission for the government. And then we were able to get FBI documents via FOIA lawsuits, and it turned out he was working for the government. Kind of like Fox News reported 3 months ago, Anwar al-Awlaki, number 3 in al-Qaeda on 9/11, number 1 in operations under bin Laden today, secretly meeting at the Pentagon 2 months after 9/11 with the Army, top brass, including the Secretary of the Army. Oh, he ran the Fort Hood shooter, who was also a psychiatrist and wrote about mind control. He ran the underwear bomber that witnesses saw last Christmas, the Christmas before last, a little over a year ago, looking drugged and disheveled, being put on the plane without a passport. Later, that was confirmed. Detroit Free Press, Associated Press, 2 months after our witnesses on this show, listeners of this broadcast, Kurt Haskell and his wife, both lawyers, witnessed the whole thing. And the FBI said it wasn't true, and 2 months later, the Undersecretary of State, Mr. Kennedy, came out and said, yes, we were ordered to get him on the plane by an unnamed intelligence agency. AP, boom, in your face. Boom, who's running him? A CIA asset, Anwar al-Awlaki. Boom. Okay, so for anybody living in denial about this, this is the facts, and I'm going to walk through all of it. But the establishment didn't waste any time. Within hours, they were on his Facebook, on his MySpace, on his YouTube, and I have watched all the videos on there. I spent all my time yesterday, hours and hours today, deeply researching it. I checked of the millions of comments on Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, nothing from him, nothing on the web associated with us, Ron Paul, anybody. And so what does the Southern Poverty Law Center do with Mr. Potok? He blames Ayn Rand, the Fountainhead author. We got this clip coming up, and David Icke, can't even get his name right, calls him David Icke, calls him a right-winger. If David Icke doesn't believe in the left-right paradigm, but if he was anything, you'd call him a New Age leftist, though he wouldn't like that term. That's the closest mainline label. I mean, the guy's all into higher consciousness, basically Buddhism and total nonviolence. I mean, now they're getting kind of, you know, guys, a guy that covers UFOs and stuff, blaming it on him, who calls for total nonviolence. I mean, we're going to get David on this week to respond to it. I mean, this is crazy. I'm just glad they're not blaming yours truly. Remember back in 2009, Richard Poplawski, his mother was kicking him out of the house. He had 2 pit bulls urinating all over the floor. He just got out of the Marine Corps. He was drunk in the early morning hours. He refused to get rid of the dogs. His mother tried to kick him out. He threw a fit, shot 3 cops when they got there. Within hours, the news said he did it because of me. And then we actually got, the contents were made public of his internet. He was visiting CNN, Fox, and he was all over my website attacking me because I'm against violence. And he was a white supremacist. But they blame, and I forced a retraction in 5 newspapers. But within 2 hours of those cops being dead, they tried to blame yours truly. I mean, I'm the one being death threatened by the white supremacists. Go on the internet. It's everywhere. I'm sick of it. And you know why, don't you? Because we forced it out in the news, and then it came out in the Orlando newspaper 3 years ago that the FBI was creating and running the white supremacist groups and having marches through black and Hispanic neighborhoods. We forced it out that Hal Turner was an FBI national security asset. That's now come out in federal court. That talk show host who attacked me every day and sent people after me trying to get folks to do violent things. They don't like it because I know they work for the feds. We have the lawyers on like Jesse Trenadu, who sued and got the documents that the Southern Poverty Law Center was running Elohim City that McVeigh was at. Not infiltrating it, running it. They set this stuff up, and that's why they're after me. And they're very dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous people. Okay? And that's why the white supremacists are after yours truly, because I know who they're working for. They go out and find mentally ill, insane, violent people, and they try to get them to go out and do violent things so they can use that to crack down on everybody's free speech, everybody's Second Amendment. Just like it's come out, what was it, New York Times, Washington Post. I just covered it again Friday. It was in Salon, headline, Martinez. He was the latest bomber they were going to have in Maryland. Couldn't cook bomb, couldn't get anything ready. The FBI recruited him, tried to help him make it. They go out and find mentally ill prison convicts and people. And if they're Mexican, they try to make them Muslims. Or if they're black, they try to make them Muslims. Or if they're Hispanic, they try to make them Muslims. If they're white, they try to make them white supremacist. And that's what the prisons are. We have the biggest prison population in the world. And in the prisons, you got the white supremacist wing, you got the Mexican supremacist wing, you got the black supremacist wing, and that's the end of it. And that's, the government actually fosters that and puts you in your wing, and then they're giant colleges of how to be an extremist dirtbag. And then they get out of prison, and the FBI and the Southern Poverty Law Center and all these groups are there to handle them and manipulate them and